Hello and welcome to Meet the Candidates here on WCMU. I'm David Nicholas, and our guest is Annette Glenn, the Republican candidate for Michigan's redrawn 36th Senate District. Annette, thanks very much for taking the time to be with us.
Thanks for having me on. It's good to be back.
In the first minute or so, to get yourself acquainted with the prospective voters a little bit more, tell us a little bit about you and the experience you bring to the campaign.
Well, I'll tell you that I've been a state legislator for almost 4 years. And during that time, we had COVID. And in my current district, we lost a lot of dams. So I got to work with the community collaborative to pull people together, help clean out basements, and just work as we've continued to recover. There's still a lot to do, but we're recovering day by day. I've also been married for 39 years, and over the almost last 7, my husband's been dealing with stage 4 cancer. So totally understand how complicated medical issues are and the high price of prescription drugs. I'm also the mom of 5 adult children, so I see, given the economic condition, exactly what it's like to be paying for housing, looking for good child care, being concerned about education, putting gas in your car and groceries on the table, and then completely blessed to have 9 amazing, talented grandchildren. So education is always going to be top of my priority list. It's been a blessing to be able to serve on the Education Appropriations Committee the last 4 years and provide record funding for education. Also want to make sure that safety is a big issue and that these grandchildren and everyone's grandchildren and children can walk to school safely. I have 2 brothers and 4 sisters, and 4 have been educators. 2 currently still are. So, listening to them talk about the recovery from COVID, the learning loss, the mental health issues that we're dealing with in schools was something that we talk about as a family frequently. And then I have a wonderful mother and mother-in-law that both lived through the Depression. So we talk about senior issues and what's going on with all of that. So that's just a little bit of background.
In the now Senate district, this redrawn district that you hope to represent, it includes the area that you represented in the House, but obviously a lot now larger area. As you've traveled the district, you mentioned the issues in and around Midland County with the severe weather in 2020 and the failure of the dams there, the ongoing COVID. But what are some the top 1 or 2, if you had to name them, issues that you're seeing across this 36th district as a whole? What are the voters telling you?
I will say inflation, the economy out of control, prices, gas. Just the other day, we knocked on a lady's home and she was putting gas in her car and noticed a young lady crying at the gas pump and went over to talk to her. And she said, I have enough money to put gas in my car to get to work, but not enough to put gas in my car to get home. So when I talk to working families and we talk to our seniors, the prices, the inflation is absolutely devastating across all 3 counties. Families are concerned about how they're going to pay their bills, and I know that it keeps them up at night.
If we look at this from the statewide perspective, the inflation is Washington and the impact on the entire country. What can we do? Are there solutions at the state level that you would try to implement that could improve the economic state at the state level?
Well, there's absolutely things that we can do at the state level. One, we can encourage less spending at the federal level. And then we have a budget surplus. We've got money sitting in Lansing, and it's time that we quit taking money from our hardworking families and seniors and make sure that they can keep some of their own money and more of their own. They can spend it better than we can in Lansing every single day. That's why I voted to lower the income tax and to expand the earned income tax credit. And to add a $500 child tax care credit, I voted to exempt feminine hygiene products and diapers from sales tax, to suspend the gas tax. And if we can get the governor on board on those, I think that would give families immediate help today if they could go to the pumps and find that they were paying 50 cents less a gallon. Also voted to increase the exemption on retirement and pension so that our seniors are not hit as hard as they are right now. They've got that fixed income, and it's important that that investment does not continue to dwindle and that they are not making the hard choices of whether they can buy prescription drugs or gas or groceries.
Well, as we spoke over the last couple of years with lawmakers that were in Lansing, including yourself, and especially now in this last year with that budget surplus you referred to, there was the debate over the one-time initiatives and investing in things that would be sustainable. So as you look now at what still remains in that surplus, where would be the best ways, given some of the things that you've mentioned, but where else can we directly perhaps invest that in a sustainable level if we were to move forward? And should you win this House and the Senate, what would you propose?
Well, we've been looking very hard at making sure that we make investments in one-time projects. So big investments in things like mental health, big investments in pensions for law enforcement. So to bring those up so that they're solid and those officers know that they've got retirement. So those are one-time investments that I think will give us big impact in the future. We also were very careful to invest in education. Each of the 4 years that I've been serving in Lansing, we've been able to produce record funding for our kids. And it's especially critical now as they're recovering from COVID, that learning loss. Most kids need to be in the classroom. They need that one-on-one education. We do have some that thrived at home, and it's been really great to see how the schools have pivoted to allow those children to continue to learn virtually. But the majority of our kids learn best in the classroom. So additional supports for our teachers, for mental health, additional funding. We've got a record $9,150 per student, and that's the same across the state. It's the first time in, I think, Proposal A that all students have been funded at that same level. So those are really solid investments that we can continue to sustain. Some of that surplus money is in the education budget. And so as the economy dwindles, we should be able to rely on those reserves and continue to fund our students at the levels they need to be funded.
If we look then at these one-time investments that don't depend on future federal funding, which we know will not be there, and we look at the tax credits or tax cuts that you have proposed also and voted for prior to this in the House, where do you think this sets the economy up? We know that the dollars will be done, and we look at then the national and the state economy moving forward. Is there confidence that we are on a path of growth, or are there concerns that you have that you would take to this Senate seat if you were elected?
I think there's absolutely concerns. And when we're out talking to people, knocking on doors, they have concerns too. That federal money, as you've mentioned, from DC is not sustainable. It continues to cause increased inflation. And so our dollars go less far on a day-by-day basis. COVID and the inflation has created supply line issues. So it's really concerning when I talk to my daughter and she calls me from the grocery store and says, "Mom, I'm looking at the grocery store here and there's only 2 gallons of milk left here." And what are we going to do about that? That's important for our kids and our seniors and everybody to make sure that we take care of those supply line issues as well. So it's important to be cautious. It's important to not spend everything we've got. It's important, most important, to give back and to lower what we're taking so that you're not waiting for that delay. Again, like the gas tax suspension, that's money that affects you every single time you go. If we take that money and return it, you're not getting back as much. So the number one thing we absolutely need to do is take less, reserve some of what we've got so that we can keep those programs that are absolutely important up and running, and then make sure that we're doing everything we can to support our hardworking families, our seniors, and those that are just entering the workforce. It's a complicated time to be getting out of college and facing high housing prices and gas and groceries. So we need to make sure that this is a community where we support one another, that everybody can thrive, and that we're taking as little as possible, because again, you can spend it better than we can.
A few minutes left, but you brought up a couple of very good points that other candidates have raised as well, and that is where the economy has been, where the economy is projected to go. We've obviously gone through a major upheaval in all of that foundation. The state then of the schools, the training that's available, and then available students, trying to retain them and keep them here to fill the workforce. How do you see that? What are the voters telling you?
Well, I think one of the things we can look at directly is right in the 3 counties, in the center of the 3 counties, we have Delta College. And Delta College has been able to work with lots of our large employers and to put together training programs that specifically train people for exactly what's needed. So you've got a guaranteed job there. And their retention rate for keeping everybody in the community is just fabulous. It's over 80%. So out of everybody that comes out of Delta College, 80% stay right in the Tri-County area and 93% stay in Michigan. So I think that's a great talking point. It's a great blessing to the community, and it's a great partnership between business and our workforce, that they get the training they need, they get good quality, high-paying jobs, and we keep them right here at home to continue to grow and build here.
Are you seeing that across the full scope of the 36? It's a positive in that portion, but does that trend carry over across the entirety of this district you hope to represent?
Delta College definitely does that. Really, that staying here and involving is across all three counties, whether it's them working with Dow in Midland to get those jobs working there, or SK Siltron, or any of the other large employers we've got. It does really work all across the board. Skilled trades are incredibly important, and that partnership with Delta has been key in the area for all employers, whether it's Delphi, SK Siltron, Dow. The list is endless. It's just been a really great partnership. And again, biggest plus in my book, along with the great paying jobs and everything, is that they stay here, which means our education system is sustainable and that we can start growing in this area. So I look forward to continuing to partner with them and helping them grow so that we can help all of our businesses, both small and large, grow and thrive as we deal with what's coming economically.
Well, in the last moment that we have then, if you take all of the issues you've discussed, things that you would want to do, things that you have accomplished in the House, as you look at that record, you want to leave one message with the voters, the prospective voters in this Senate District 36. What would that final message to them be?
I think that message would be, I developed a reputation during the dam failures of being the hardest working legislator in Lansing. And I will continue to be the hardest working legislator in Lansing. That doesn't just mean I work hard in Lansing, but it means I'm there to help clean out your basement, carry your groceries from the car. I'll help rake your lawn. If you need something, I want to be the person that you call. Just the other day, I was getting my car washed and a lady walked up and said, "Hey, can you help me with unemployment? I've heard that you help people." And that made my day, because if I have no better reputation, then I'll help you and that I'll work hard for you. That's all I want, is to represent you, work hard for you, and know that I've got your back every day.
We appreciate your time addressing the campaign issues as we get closer to November. We wish you best of luck with the rest of the campaign, and thanks so much for taking the time to be with us.
Thanks for having me on.
We've been speaking with Annette Glenn, the Republican candidate for Michigan's 36th Senate District. I'm David Nicholas. For all of us here at Meet the Candidates, we remind you to get out and cast your vote on Tuesday, November 8th. All qualifying candidates were invited to participate in this series. Following the redraw of Michigan House, Michigan Senate, and congressional districts, check with local officials to make sure you are properly registered. Election Day is Tuesday, November 8th.